Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today it's ISC maps and apps. Safe to say this is tied to the Mobiglass star map and maybe some applications that go within it. Saw a lot of this at SitCon. Looking forward to some quality of life changes there. The star map is a nightmare, especially to navigate while under pressure. Using this thing when it's time critical, for example, PvP has just been a absolute nightmare from the beginning. Thankful that this has come. It's probably taken way too long, but either way, we'll be thankful for its arrival. I also remember watching a Salty Mike video just recently about how he still felt like the star map navigation was really jank. So hopefully that's not going to be the case for much longer. I've regrettably not been able to test this VKB patch just because of my schedule this month, but yeah, eager to get some changes and a more fluid experience there. Anyways, let's crack this open.
Never sat in this one before. As Alpha 323 continues its journey towards becoming Star Citizen's biggest life in the verse as we know it patch yet, we know.
See, this is the thing for me. I'm so ready to move on from 322 and like onto 323. I just want to close the chapter already. It's a flight model that I'll be glad to see gone. I'm not going to PvP in live because it makes no sense to undo and use old habits again, and that can't be applied to the new flight model. You know, skills I've picked up or playstyles I've made use of on master modes can't be used in live and vice versa. So it just makes no sense. I'm ready to close the chapter on the 322 patch. There's so much things coming for 323 that I'm just trying to save my energy for, like the UGFs, the FPS gameplay content frequency, the FPS changes, the performance increase with 323, you know, the flight model, obviously. And I'm praying that there's a wipe coming because the game is so stagnant. It is so bad. Like, I don't care if people keep their ships that they've earned in the game, but my gosh, we need a UEC wipe for sure. Because look at, you know, Ghost Hollow, it's abandoned. Nobody goes there anymore. Look at Jump Town. It's like a shadow of its former self. No one barely cares. It's just the lifeblood of this game is UEC, and there's just too much of it everywhere. There's no real need for it. There's no maintenance up cost. Nothing. The economy is the worst aspect of Star Citizen. So desperate for a wipe there. Just ready to close out the 322 chapter. Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
I know lots of folks have patiently waited to see one thing above all others, the Misk Raptor. What? The Mobiglass and Star map app. The Mobiglass and newly christened map app.
320, sorry, the Raptor being the cleanup vehicle they did their April Fool's joke with.
Arrival complete. Welcome.
So the Mobiglass is getting a massive visual overhaul for 323.
The version everyone's been living with for years is, it kind of does the job, but you can see it's dated now.
So the entire Mobiglass is overhauled from what it was before.
I feel like they recorded this last week, but okay, you got the home, which is like health, contracts, notifications, reputation with the area you're in, so Crusader, because they're in Crusader. The vehicle, even though they're not at the vehicle, so the one they've got spawned, interesting. The environment, and then on the bottom for modules, we've got health, comms, contract maps, journals, assets, reputation, wallet, planning, and vehicles.
It's using a new technology that we've built called cards, and we use cards for other UIs throughout the game. For the Mobiglass, it was a big task to convert because it has a lot of apps in it as well. So we need to convert all of those apps over to the new tech in order for the entire thing to be able to release.
The thing about the Mobiglass has always been the performance. Like, they dress it up, it looks great. It still looked great before. But like, the most important factor in all of this is functionality and reliability. Like, it has never worked before. I don't know if any of you remember like the 3.3 or the 3.4 days way back then, where sometimes like you'd open the Mobiglass, it would open then close, open then close, open then close. You couldn't keep it open and you'd have to do it for like 2 minutes. It's always had an issue with playability and lag, and it never scaled well with the server performance. Like, they need to realize that that's what matters the most, is how reliable it is and how it performs. It doesn't just always have to be overly designed, dressed up to impress if it doesn't function well. Like, that's what I want, like consistency and usability.
So in 3.23, we've got a really big improvement to the user experience.
It looks good.
So everything's designed to look nicer and feel nicer.
Ready to upgrade?
And sadly, we haven't really had all the time we needed to get all the apps there. So you are going to recognize the VMA and the Comms app just as they have always been. But with that package, you're getting all the other apps with a visual update and also functionality updates for some of them.
The comms tab could really use some work, that's for sure.
You've got a completely updated home screen, so you can do things like view your ship, you can see your health, notifications, it's kind of the information you really need to see now.
So we're also getting a fully new health app where you can see all the things that's currently affecting your health and all the stats that you would normally see on your HUD.
Over time, we've added all these cool new things that can affect the player. So we're going to have things like radiation. We've got existing stuff like you can break bones. If you heal yourself, you can potentially overdose. You can have drug effects. All this cool stuff is happening, but it wasn't obvious to the player just walking around what was going on under the hood. So we added this new app where you can track all that stuff.
So the health app is going to be the place to go when, for some reason, you're feeling ill and you just need that extra little bit of information of what do I need to do to take care of myself to get out of this situation. So the contract manager has been in the game for a long time, and it's just grown kind of obvious that it's not doing all the things you need it to.
All the functionality is essentially the same internally, but it needed a visual polish, and also the user experience needed bringing up to date. So there's some new features like you can toggle between illegal missions, you can see what the rewards are going to be ahead of time.
So no more randomly getting attacked by the police, hopefully. It's probably your fault anyway.
Some big improvements coming to the Mobiglass. That's coming in 3.23, but one thing we didn't talk about yet was the star map. We've had the original Star Map in Star Citizen for a long time, so it was overdue for an update.
Don't get me wrong, like the old Skylink app,
Okay, this looks a little better.
it did what it should, but I think it has grown a bit obsolete.
No, death to the old star map!
That's harsh.
The original one just showed the stars and planets and so on, but we wanted to expand on that.
So opening up the star map for the first time in 3.23, you're gonna realize that the star map is not just the star map anymore. It's the everything map.
It's now called Maps app rather than Star Map.
And why did we change it?
Because we now have the interior map, so this shows like your local area, as well as sort of zooming out and showing the star map.
So what is the interior map? It's a bird's eye view of the current environment.
Here we go. I worry about the implications of FPS to this.
It's a really cool 3D map, so instead of just having a top-down view, this is showing you the actual level.
And it's presented as a fully schematic 3D view in which you can find every relevant point of interest, such as a shop, transit station, hospital, and the like.
You can get them for ships, for landing zones in 3.23. In future, we'll expand on that and add it to more areas.
And if you're not familiar with the location you just arrived to, or you're a new player and you're not familiar with any of them, actually having the spatial awareness of where the things that are relevant to you are is going to provide a giant step up in terms of the experience of the game in general.
As it's fully 3D, you can move around, navigate between floors, zoom in and out, and so on, as you'd expect.
You will see the local area where you're walking around, something you've never been able to do before. Essentially, you'll be able to navigate between all the different rooms and different important areas of the game.
It also offers a way to overlay your own data onto it that is specific to you. So, for example, the location of your mission objective. Custom markers.
Okay. If you could share the custom markers, that'd be really cool. But okay, this is interesting. The custom markers is a big one. Wow.
You can also use it to plot a route to another location on the map. Drop a marker and navigate to it, so we'll see a line on the map that shows you where you can actually go and where the easiest way to get there.
So on that map, you'll be able to just click any room you want to go to. You can go between the different zones of the area, and you can place a little marker and route all the way there.
So navigating is one of the primary use cases we want to make as robust as we can for 323. And so part of that involves providing a variety of fallback cases in order to help you best understand how to get somewhere. So for instance, if we ask the AI system and it can't return you a path via its nav links and nav meshes, we can ask the transit system. And if the transit system says there's a connection between the two zones, then that would help you route.
So at the time of recording, we're having issues loading all the different OCs that's in a big landing zone, for example. So we're looking into these solutions to make sure that you can track from one part to a fully different part of the area.
Well, thank God you could search it in. That'll be really good. Like, I love this because they're using like the map and the radar and stuff to do non-combat things. But I just worry, like, if you get to a mission, does that mean just exploring the bunkers out of the question, finding the right terminals out of the question because it's highlighted on the radar or the minimap for the FPS? Like, you don't want the game to be too convenient, you know? Like, there should be some like random exploration and stuff like that. You don't want it to completely ruin that aspect, do you? But again, like the quality of life, for example, finding outposts on moons and planets is going to be huge. The coordinate system here on the bottom right, great. The bookmark or setting the marker locations is very much like Eve. It'd be great if those could be shared with the group, or you could like set a like a ping, a marker for an entire group. Oh my lord! Then now we're talking.
So Star Map. Star Map is vastly improved. The main thing we wanted to change was make it a nice user experience. So everything in there has been overhauled.
When you open your map, you'll first of all be confronted with your local area. So you'll see what room you're in and what's close to you. But you can also zoom out and you will see the universe open up in front of you as you zoom out.
From here, we can see the entire verse. We can see all the planets,
space stations, Lagrange points, all of that good stuff. You can then click on any of those markers and you will be automatically panned and zoomed into them so you can see a little bit more detail about them. If you've zoomed in on a planet, for example, you can zoom in a little bit more and you can start to see the surface locations. So you can see towns, outposts.
You get all the information you need about them. We're adding this new system where you can see all the amenities that are available at that location.
So for outposts, landing zones, and stations, there will be a section here for amenities, which will show you things like whether you can buy weapons here, whether you can buy ships here, whether there's
do we need this much convenience though? Like, isn't like word of mouth or, you know, remembering what outposts are good for what, or stations have certain availabilities, like, is that not a good thing as well? Like, I don't know, like, I just think if you make everything so easy to grab, easy to reach, it, you know, it kind of kills the exploration, I would guess, of it. Like, tell me what you guys think, but I don't know, I worry about the game becoming too convenient, you know?
The food court, whether there's a hospital or a clinic, all of these sorts of things you'll be able to see on those box outs, so you'll know which is the most appropriate location to go to. We showed in CitizenCon, obviously, that these display much better now, so you'll see them rotate with the map, and if they've gone behind the planet, they fade out, and if they're in front of your view, they're brighter, so you can see them more easily. So at the moment, if you zoom in, it will eventually get too big and you'll go through, but I am currently working on it so that it will zoom in to the surface and you'll never actually sort of clip through the planet.
And generally, we've tried to make it feel like a much more pleasant user experience, so there's things like items don't disappear off the back of the map anymore, everything's easy to read.
So as always, the star map is what you're going to want to use to route your way through the verse.
You can still set route.
It does look way better. I do worry about the performance because Mobiglass has been a shocking experience the whole time. So like, if this solves the performance issues that's existed in the past, then great. It's a huge win. It looks nice. It looks neat. Can't deny that. It looks smooth to operate, especially in comparison to what we're dealing with live, but I'm just skeptical, yeah, because sometimes you look at these like impressive designs and artistically they're great, and then you get them into your hands and they're jank as hell. So we'll see.
As you could in the previous version, but there is a little bit more feedback if there's a problem and you can't set a route, whether you don't have enough fuel or whether it's obstructed.
It's going to be so easy. It's going to be so intuitive for you you click the thing, and there you get the button to say set route. It doesn't always just have the ability to set a route, because you can't always set a route. We will let you know when you can set a route.
There are a few things that are new for this new star map that have not been seen in the old star map. The primary one there would be search. So we now have a list of all locations. So there'll be a little...
But I hope this, like what if we're talking about like places of interest? Like, is the, for example, Javelin Wreck going to be here? And are you going to be able to just jump to the Javelin Wreck on Daymar now? Or do you have to, you know, do some research, some homework and find, you know, where it is? Like, I don't like, you know, easy convenience all the time. And don't get me wrong, like, we need convenience with the Mobiglass, but not always. So, you know, does this mean like Jump Town's going to be on it? Or, you know, these outposts that are off-grid, you know, like criminal outposts or whatever? Just, got to make sure there's a balance there, right?
Drop down in your top left corner. If you open that up, you can see the full list of locations ordered by what is closest to you.
It looks so good though,
and then
it does.
You can also type any location and it will appear. So you could type, for example, L1 and all of the Lagrange point ones would appear. So this allows you to a lot more flexibility to finding what you're looking for when it's not as sort of, you know, immediately right there when you're at the current view. So you can go all the way across the solar system to look at something completely different.
Star Citizen is a massive systemic game. We've got all this cool stuff going on. We've got multiple players doing things at different times. So we wanted to improve the overall interface from the player to that game world. So a big part of that is the new Mobiglass.
Finally, we've gone through this effort to refactor and do the whole Mobiglass hub from scratch. New maps, new applications. Everything is using new tech, and we have a much more flexible and robust system for the Mobiglass under the hood.
When you're playing Star Citizen, it should be a smooth experience. You shouldn't be stuck trying to find whatever it is you need to find at the moment. We're helping you do that with the new apps, making it easier for you to find your missions or to even just find a place in the verse.
Now that we have that framework in place, then, you know, it's kind of the sky's the limit in terms of what we can.
You know, I was watching this FPS radar earlier, and it had NPCs wandering around and you couldn't see them, so maybe it's not as big a mistake as I originally thought. I just worry about the combat implications of something like this. sometimes not knowing, you know, the layout of a building makes things interesting, stuff like that. But yeah, it looks so good, like way better. I just worry about like how quick and reliable is gonna navigating all of these systems and interfaces going to be, really. But it looks really good. But that's never been a problem with SC. It's always been the opposite. How well does it play?
Do with it and how many apps we can develop for it. And it's all using new tech. It's clean. It's the way we want it.
The other big new feature is obviously the star map with the brand new interior map as well.
Star Citizen is a game about exploring. It is a game about spacefaring. And even so, even when you're not going around in space, it's still about exploring.
Without the star map, it's really difficult to do that, right? This makes it so much easier to navigate around, to finding what you want and where it is, and how to get there.
Yo, just little side argument, yeah? Like, I can see the cloud tech in the background here. Man, if there's anything I want them to improve badly, it's the cloud tech. Like, I was hearing like 3.5, 3.6 when we were talking about cloud tech, and it turned out to be some Game Boy Color looking thing, and you could see the pixels on your screen. It was ridiculous. Like, I really want atmospheric flight to be like similar to DCS, where you're like, you know, using like cloud cover to evade opponents, or you know, like stuff like that. Like, you're going in and out of the cloud scenery. I want that so bad for the game, and we haven't had it because the performance has been so bad, or it just looked so jank. I saw that there's improvements for this, and I'm really hopeful that they arrive, because I also think it should be like, you should not be able to disable the clouds. Like, clouds should be considered terrain. You shouldn't be able to turn it off, but they first need to get it performing well. I really am hopeful that cloud tech shapes up to what it was always supposed to be.
Overall, it helps the player interact with the world, get to where they want to, do what they want to do more easily and quickly.
Over.
Definitely.
Oh. Yeah. I agree.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that Mobiglass is finally converted over to building blocks in the new card system, meaning that Flash, as we know it, has pretty much gone to live on a farm upstate. That the conversion sets the stage for the creation of multiple new apps going forward, and that the new internal map and star map have combined to become simply the Map app. Now, of course, remember that all things you see on ISC are a work in progress, and as any player of Evocati or developer alike may tell you, will continue to iterate between when you see it here and its upcoming release in Alpha 3.23. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see y'all here next week.
Okay, and the meme is this, the navigator, and it's Pico. Okay, so 3.23 just like is just getting crazier and crazier with every ISC update. This is like, you'd call it the God patch by now. The only thing it would be lacking is meshing, and I don't know if there's any plans for that. But regardless, 3.23, more quality of life, so awesome. By gosh, the systems, the framework that's coming in 3.23 is just out of this world. It's going to be an unrecognizable game. But man, they got to update the content. Like, they have to reset the economy. Like, they have to. The game itself is so stagnant. The development isn't, but the playability is so stagnant. The universe is dead, in my opinion. Like, a lot of people play it, but they're off in their corners. There's no interaction, no convergence, no incentive to interact. It's just, there's no maintenance. It's shocking. Like, I really, really have issues with the economy. And I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but I do. What about you? What do you guys think? Are you guys checked out of 3.22? You know, you kind of in the same boat for me, where you're just ready to close that chapter and move on, like I am, because I definitely am. 3.23 is looking like the promised land. Hopefully it comes soon, yeah? I appreciate you guys. I have a podcast coming with Salty Mike. That'll happen hopefully in the next few days. We'll see. I've also got a couple other videos planned. 323, I'm really hoping I'll be able to like really pump out like actual game content rather than just the reacts. But been having fun. I appreciate you guys in the comments. Let me know. Fly safe or don't, and I'll catch you next time. Yeah. GG's. Peace.